On the 16th of October 2005, Ronnie Coleman stood on stage in front of a packed crowd in the Orleans Arena. He closed his eyes, taking deep, methodical breaths as he awaited the judge's verdict. Jay Cutler stood next to him, shifting his weight from side to side in anticipation of the inevitable. After a tense silence, the announcer's speaker finally reverberated, announcing the winner of the 2005 Mr. Olympia title. Ronnie fell to his knees, letting out a prolonged exhale before pounding the stage in joy. He had accomplished a feat only Lee Haney had managed: 8 Mr. Olympia titles. His physique was marvelled over by millions, his strength was unparalleled, his work rate was unrivaled. He had the world at his feet, inspiring all ages to hit the gym to attempt to emulate his muscle-bound frame. This larger-than-life character was truly one of a kind. But under the muscular facade, a quiet chink lay in the armour, one that would not only spark the downfall of his bodybuilding empire, but, as fate would have it, cruelly strip the man mountain of his mobility and livelihood, stringing him up from the rafters as a sorry example of what can come to fruition if grievances go unchecked. From negligence on the operating table to losing the Mr. Olympia revenue in botched endeavours, here is the tale of Ronnie Coleman's insane ordeal. Ronnie was very active in his teen years. He was born and raised in Mooraville and attended Mooraville High. During high school, he was part of the powerlifting, football and track teams. Whilst he was deadlifting at one of the powerlifting sessions, he tweaked his back badly, leading to a recurring pain that plagued him throughout the track and football seasons. After high school, he enrolled in Grambling State University to study a BSc in accounting. He was instantly picked up by the football team, playing as a middle linebacker with the GSU Tigers under coach Eddie Robinson. During his college football career, he further exacerbated his back problems, which forced him to go to a chiropractor. He would visit the chiropractor every day, who would keep him in check, but this remedy was simply suppressing the issue temporarily, and a long-term solution was never found. Next, we must fast forward to the aftermath of the 1996 Mr. Olympia show. Dorian Yates from England had claimed the title, with Ronnie Coleman finishing in 6th place. Coleman stated in an interview that after this show, he had taken a few weeks off to relax and recover. Unfortunately, he overestimated his strength, squatting 600 pounds for about 15 reps per set straight out of the recovery period. Whilst coming up on rep number 8, Ronnie heard a loud pop sound. As soon as he re-racked the weight, he felt a sharp pain shoot down his left leg all the way down to his foot. The pain continued when he left the gym and returned home, so he headed straight to a hospital to have it checked out. After a few x-rays, the doctor determined that there was no problem and Coleman's back and spine were in good condition. Being unconvinced by this verdict, the next day Coleman went for an MRI scan, which revealed that he had a herniated disc. Instead of opting for surgery or physical therapy, Ronnie decided to rest for around 2 weeks in order to relieve the swelling and allow his back time to heal. The long period of staying off his feet may not have been ideal, as the lack of movement possibly led to Coleman's joints and muscles stiffening up. After this period, he decided to return to the gym, instantly squatting 300 pounds for 12 reps. He also hired a chiropractor, Dr. Ison, who undertook massage therapy sessions with him, which, as Coleman claims, greatly strengthened his back and reduced the pain. However, after a few months of recovery, Coleman noticed that, whilst doing long patrols during his job as a policeman, his right foot would start to go numb. It was abundantly clear that something was seriously wrong. He went to the doctor, who instantly recommended surgery due to the disc's consistent contact and pressure against the nerve. So straight after the 1997 Mr. Olympia, Coleman made the sensible decision to undergo back surgery. This solved the pain entirely, and Ronnie Coleman was able to live out the rest of his days in comfort on a beach in the Bahamas with a pina colada in hand. Just kidding. Instead, he decided to wait 10 years until 2007 before entering the operation room. He had just placed fourth in the Mr. Olympia and was in permanent immense pain. The doctors shaved the disc down in order to alleviate the pressure it was exerting on the nerves. This may have temporarily alleviated the pain, but little did Coleman and the doctors know, Pandora's box had been very much opened.
Once you pull one of them cans out from under it and the whole stack started falling, that's what started happening in my back.
With his discs falling forward as a result of the original surgery, it appeared there was little option but to have the other discs operated on in order to stop the domino effect. The doctor decided to do a surgery which involved putting cages around Ronnie's discs, which would theoretically prevent them from slipping forward. Over the following years, Coleman would undergo a series of corrective surgeries, taking the total number up to 13. 8 were performed on his back, 3 on his hips, and 2 on his neck. The doctors had reverted from simply shaving down the vertebrae discs in order to alleviate the pressure on the nerve, as they had done in the first few operations, instead opting to fuse them in place. 14 metal screws, 2 cages, and 2 rods were inserted in and around the spine. Due to this, similar appliances had to be put around the vertebrae in his neck. It's honestly difficult to keep track of every surgery and the underlying purpose behind them, but to provide a rough timeline, in mid-2014 Coleman had a double hip replacement but was back to doing front squats only 5 months later. Consequently, it was the procedure in mid-2015 that was certainly a catalyst for immobility. Around July 2015, 2 screws were inserted into Coleman's lower back in order to hold the vertebrae in the correct position. It appears this step signalled the deterioration of Coleman's mobility as he required therapy to walk properly and unassisted. In December 2015, for his 4th surgery, he was on the operating table for 13 hours, in which they cut into his front, side and back. This was in order to fuse a number of discs together. In February 2016, Coleman posted a photo of all the hardware left over from his recent surgery. It depicted the screws holding the vertebrae in place with the rod aligning with the spine. In February 2018, Coleman had 2 surgeries in just 4 weeks. The first one involved Coleman's intestines being removed in order to allow the doctors to insert screws into his back before returning the intestines back into its original place. In January 2019, he underwent 4-level neck fusion, which, although diminishing the pain, massively hampered his overall mobility. All you really need to fully know in order to comprehend the extent of damage done to his back is the fact that every single disc has been operated on. There are 24 vertebrae in total, meaning that his more recent surgeries have been extensive fusion procedures. Dr. Chris Rayner provides a plausible explanation suggesting that Coleman's spine has been fused into various segments, with the lumbar spine in his lower back being made into one unified piece. This would obviously restrict his mobility due to the rigidness of the segments. Based off Ronnie's Instagram, one of the final surgeries he had done in early 2020 had been performed with the guarantee that he would be able to use the leg press after a couple of months. Yet as time passed, cracks began to appear in the doctor's promise.
I think if that surgeon had performed these surgeries right, then I would have been walking a long time ago. It's just the way he did everything and performed everything. It was like, he was kind of like doing these surgeries to make money.
Ronnie stated that the last 3 surgeries he had cost around $2 million, which is astronomically high. On the 2nd of May 2020, Ronnie Coleman and Susan Coleman filed a contract professional negligence lawsuit against Michael S. Hissey of the Texas Back Institute Physicians. The case was filed in Collin County District Courthouse, located in Collin, Texas. Now, I am speculating here as it's hard to ascertain the exact circumstances and details of this lawsuit, but judging by Coleman's comments about the poor standard of the surgical procedures, it seems that the Colemans were likely suing the surgeon who performed the final 3 surgeries as they believed that his actions fell below the required standard of care. Having studied UK law, I understand that to establish that a doctor has breached their duty is incredibly difficult, and this is likely to be the same under US law. Consequently, the case was dismissed from all accounts, so Ronnie received no financial remedy. This does seem a shame as it's evident that Ronnie was ripped off and clearly didn't receive the desired results from the surgeries. Please don't sue me for defamation if this account is wrong. Judging by his recent Instagram posts, it appears that Ronnie is using a mixture of stem cell therapy and a hyperbaric chamber in order to improve his overall mobility and well-being. He still struggles to walk unaided and often uses a wheelchair, but due to his monster mindset, he still regularly trains in the gym. This has probably worsened his body's condition, but I doubt he has any regrets regarding this. He stated that the stem cell therapy has helped him to put 30 pounds back on, and this is an encouraging sign. In a recent Jesse James West video involving both Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman, the latter looked in relatively good shape as opposed to years prior. It's really nice to see the King back with a smile and enjoying life considering the ordeal he has been through. Ronnie's story is certainly a cautionary tale. He pushed himself to ridiculous limits, lifted monumental amounts of weight, and ultimately neglected injuries to continue the habit that he evidently couldn't live without. But it's also a story of resilience, positivity, and inspiration, as in spite of all the adversity, constant botched surgeries that have left him unable to walk and struggling to move, he still embodies discipline and happiness. A true legend of the game.